Hey guys, and welcome to our little backyard garden. I'm going to give you a tour in today's video, so let's get started. So in this area back here is where I had my garlic. I planted it in October last year and I just harvested it a couple weeks ago, the beginning of July. So once I had that all removed, I added some worm castings from our worms and some compost, and then I also added a cover crop here. I planted some buckwheat, so you can see it's just starting to come up. Cover crops are really great to cover the soil. They add nutrients back into the soil, and then I can either plant a fall crop here or I can just let this build up good soil for next year. So right next to where our garlic was, I have 3.5 rows or actually 4 rows of potatoes. I've got some Yukon Gold, red potatoes, and russet potatoes. This is my first year growing potatoes. We eat a lot of potatoes, and I thought, what a better way to utilize a space in our garden than plant a ton of potatoes. So I ended up planting 10 pounds, and we'll see what our yield is. Some of them are starting to die in there, which is a good sign because then that means it's almost ready to harvest the potatoes. All right, moving on, we have 2 rows of Blue Lake bush beans, and if you come in close, you can see we're already starting to get some beans here. Look at this, it's just loaded here. The weed in there, pull that out. But look at that, I probably should come out here in a day or two because these will be the perfect size. Last year, our green beans did not do very well. They died of mosaic disease. I was still able to get a little bit of a harvest, but this year I'm hoping for a better one. Moving on from our beans is now our tomato section. These here are San Marzano tomatoes. We had a rough start with the garden this year because 2 days after I planted everything, we had a massive hailstorm come through and it just shredded most of my plants, but these seem to have recovered. I did lose some completely, but we've got some just starting to form down here. So it'll be a little while before they're ripe, but it's always exciting to see tomatoes forming. In between all of the tomatoes here, I have some marigolds. These are supposed to deter pests, so I've got some orange ones, yellow ones, all different colors. This here was where one of my tomatoes actually died. It was a very small one. The hail just broke it completely in half and it wasn't salvageable. So I planted some carrots here. I don't remember what kind these are. I think these are the Davenport. So I have a nice little patch here. And then as well as down here, I've got another patch of carrots here, and then in this other spot where my tomato died, I've got some basil leaves here. This is a row of yellow beans, I think. Some of them are not doing so good. I'm hoping it's not the mosaic disease. These are not in the same spot that I planted last year, so they shouldn't be, but I don't know. We'll see how well they do. So this next row here are some carrots that I just put in the ground. I'm not sure if they're gonna germinate because it's so hot. I did cover it with some grass that I used some scissors to cut just to kind of hopefully cool it, so that way when the little seedlings pop up, they don't get so much heat like radiating from the black dirt here. And then this whole section, we've got another 2 rows of marigolds, and we've got Amish paste tomatoes and Roma tomatoes. And then we've got our last 2 rows of the tomato area. I've got some black cherry tomatoes. This one here broke in a windstorm, and the little sucker coming out the side was still okay, so we'll see if we get anything from there. And then I've got some kale, some gold medal tomatoes, as well as some pear tomatoes. Last year I staked my tomatoes with some shorter wooden stakes, and they grew over the top and kind of up and over. So this year I got, I think these are 8-foot stakes. I don't know, they were from Home Depot, and I've got my tomatoes on here. And these ones I'm heavily pruning and staking up. The rest of them I'm letting them just kind of be a little bit bushy. But this one here is the pear tomatoes, so we've got an excellent harvest coming on here. And then the last one over here is a gold medal, which I thought my pear was a gold medal because I wanted to stake up my gold medal since the tomatoes get huge, but that didn't end up happening. So this one is a gold medal, and then we've got lots more kale right in here. One thing I'm implementing differently this year is doing successive sowing. So this next row here, which don't laugh, it's kind of crooked. I don't know why I didn't straighten it out before I planted it. Right here I planted some jade beans, just a different variety of green beans here. So hopefully we'll have a longer harvest. This here is a boysenberry plant. It's not doing so well. I should have planted it way before I did. I think I planted it last week, so it's not looking too hot. I wasn't sure where to plant it. It'll kind of bush out and take up this whole area, which was not what I wanted for the garden area, but it is what it is. This is my greenhouse here. If you saw my video, I took the plastic off this, and I've got some cucumber trellising here. So I've got 4 or 5 plants here of, I think these are pickling cucumbers. So these ones here I actually sowed multiple times in the ground because the ones I started inside in the spring were doing really well until, like I said, we got that hailstorm. So I had to plant these several times for them to come up. So they're a little bit behind what they should be, but they seem to be doing well, and we've got lots of flowers. I also have some lettuce in here, more marigolds, some green onions, chives. I've got more cucumbers on that side growing up this way, and some purple kale. On the other side of our greenhouse, these are some, I think, of the Davenport carrots that I just sowed this week. Again, it might be too hot to germinate, but I've got what's called a carrot board, just a, what is this, a 2x6? Over here, just kind of shading it, keeping that moisture in. So I'll come out at least a couple times a day to get this nice and evenly misted, and then I'll put the board back on and kind of retain that moisture and keep the intense heat. So hopefully we'll get good germination. I don't know. And then over here, I've got sweet potatoes. I had 6 plants planted and 2 survived. This one's not looking so good, so I'm not too hopeful for that one. These are just ones that I started from the store. I just sprouted the ones from the store, so I don't even know what kind these are. But you know, it's an experiment this year, and we'll see what happens. Down at the end, where I had the other sweet potatoes that didn't survive, I just planted some more green beans, and it looks like one came up. This is also another row of carrots. I didn't have a board long enough, so hopefully we'll get the whole row to germinate. And then over here, I just planted some shallots. Next, I've got all of my peppers. I think these ones are poblanos. I've got Anaheim chilies, banana peppers, jalapenos, green peppers, orange peppers. I don't know. I've got a lot of them all in here. And then on the other side of my peppers, I have 4 watermelon plants. These ones were not my original starts. They died in the hailstorm, but I replanted and they seem to be doing pretty well. Another thing that I'm doing new for this year is I'm trying to grow onions. I tried them from seed, but they did not survive. So I ended up just getting the onion sets. I'm not sure what kind these are. I think they're a white, some sort of white onion. They seem to be a little bit small, but I don't know, I'm hopeful. We've got more peppers here, and come in and look at this one. I just noticed this earlier when I was walking through the garden. This is an orange pepper. It's still pretty small, but I'm super excited about that. We've got some banana peppers over here, and even more here, so the peppers are just loving the heat. We've got some more cucumber and pickle plants here. This one did survive the hailstorm, but you can see there's a lot of damage here. It's growing out, but it's got some flowers. I don't know. It should be producing a lot of pickles by now, but I don't know. We'll see how well it does, especially since it was damaged. I also tried some herbs this year, but most of them didn't turn out very well. But this one, I believe it's sage. It smells so good. And look at the little cucumber plants hanging on. This one here is parsley. This is another row of jade green beans that I just planted this week, so they should be popping up soon. I've got 3 cantaloupe plants here, and the first batch that I had died in the hailstorm. I planted another batch and they sprouted up and then died, and this is the 3rd time I planted them. So fingers crossed we actually get cantaloupe. I'm the only one that likes cantaloupe, but that's okay. I'll eat it all. So I'm hopeful for some cantaloupe. I also have lots more marigolds here. And then in this tunnel here, I just got some of this tubing from Amazon with insect netting over all of my cabbage to keep the cabbage moths. This here is Napa cabbage. They got a lot bigger than what I thought they were gonna get because last year they rotted before they even got this big. So I'm not sure if I need to take this off or what. And then over here, we've got some, I think this is Golden Acre, and we have some Jersey Wakefield cabbage down there. This is a row of candy apple red onions, again from the Onion Starts. And then I've got some carrots here. This is actually what I planted in the spring. So you can see these carrots are a lot larger. I think this one's a purple, and then all these little ones are orange and yellow, and these are all purple here. The last row here is, I think these are Utah yellow onions. I'm not sure. I went around and I kind of moved some of the mulch away. Hopefully they'll bulb out a little bit. So I don't know. We'll see how they turn out. So that is the main part of our garden. I'm gonna do a whole nother video, kind of a tour of our whole property. We've got fruit trees and grapes and bees and chickens and all that kind of stuff. So I'll show you how we try to manage a little mini backyard homestead on our small property. But for now, that is our 2023 garden tour. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, be sure to give this video a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Are you super close to my face?
Do you want it that way?
Well, I mean, close enough, but not super close. You can kind of see the garden. No, what are you doing?